Alright, hello guys, welcome back to this channel. In today's video we'll be having interactive section, and I promise you it's going to be interesting. It's a topic that you don't want to miss at all, and we will do injustice to a common problem in most Nigerian buildings. Actually, either you're in the north, you're in the south, west, east, everybody suffers this, and that is dampness in the building. We'll be doing justice to these, just sharing our ideas, as engineers on what we've encountered over the years and possible causes, and then solutions to the problems that we have when it comes to building being damped. I will not just be doing that alone in this video. I have my colleague with me, engineer
Hola,
and myself, your favorite host on this channel, Kenny. So we are going to be doing justice to causes of dampness in building, and then the possible solutions and what you could do to prevent it even now that you're having that issue. And first of all, let me just quickly give definition of what dampness in building is. The grammar sounds big to some people. Yes, that's engineering terms. Dampness in building is when you experience a nature of some part of your building being wet by fluid contents, but in most cases actually water. So that is dampness, and you will see it by the time it begins to affect the painting of your building, your ceiling, and then it just makes the building look so irritating. Very often. Some become allergic to it. Actually, they can't stand the look. It's irritating totally. Yes, maybe that's the reason why you're even having bad dreams. I don't know. Anyway, so we'll be sharing our experiences on that, and I won't talk about what dampness in building is. For me, I will allow you to also share your idea. In building, I've just come to discover that a lot of people don't go through design process to get their building drawings ready. So first you will see building that is below the road, the access road. And what that connotes is that during rainy season there is flood of water towards the building. Whether you like it or not, one of the ways to first tackle dampness in building is that to allow water to be absent from your building. But you can't totally do that, but there are aspects that you can do that. So coming to foundation of a building, if you have a foundation that is lower than the access road, so if there is rainfall, there is flow of water towards your building. So I think foundation should not just be built because your neighbor had 2 feet down the ground and then another 2 feet just above the ground level, and you just feel you should do so. Somebody did that somewhere else and then you are copying. Just came here, no, just do two, no, that shouldn't be. It should be by design, carry out survey and then know what appropriate height will be okay for you, so that your building will not be below the road level. Can you share with us some of your
definitely own? Just like you just rightly mentioned now, I just remember a building that was almost completed, and they had an issue with the person that was handling it, and I needed to come in and do some correction. Getting to the building the first thing I told the man is, I would have loved that we just bring down this building and build another one. He was like, what do I mean? I said, this building is just that, as in just below the ground, as in it's just very low to the road level.
The road level, right?
Even made it difficult for us to have a good this channeling of water within the compound and things. Eventually, when that was done, we just have to look for a way to get the water out of the compound, because already the building is below the road level. And anything you are doing from the compound, you cannot channel the water outside. Because even the water outside is trying, definitely, it's not even trying, it's definitely
making its way to your building.
So one of the most important thing is your foundation. First thing, your foundation should be far above the road level. Very is key to building. Is very important. So when that is put into consideration. Let me say like 30% away from that dampening you are saying from foundation, and I believe there are other factors that set in when it comes to foundation, which I believe you can still throw some light to.
Yes, I haven't talked about the height of your foundation is key. You understand? Another thing that I've come to discover is that I've been to a building and then I just discovered that instead of them to do this mass concrete, that DPC, we call it damp-proof course. Actually, that's the full meaning. So that DPC, they eliminated it. So all that the guy was just doing is just the block from foundation, and it's just block. You could see bare grounds. And I asked him, okay, how do you intend to do? Although I've seen plenty buildings like that, and over time you see people complaining. Now they avoid that particular, DPC.
That stage of.
They avoid that particular DPC, and at long run, you have water, just by capillary action, just rising. It's nothing stops it. That DPC, one of the work is to stop the rising of water. So if the water is moving through the block and the foundation, by the time it gets to that DPC, it will stop. You understand? Yeah. But now it has been eliminated, and most buildings are like that.
I can say nothing less than 70% of building in possibly local area now. I'm not talking about Abuja now, because there is this FCDA putting things in order.
Yeah, actually, yes, outside
Abuja, but it's all these. All these
neighboring states and other places. Yeah. All right, fine.
Another thing that definitely caused that in foundation is some people do even their DPC without this DPM.
All right.
That's the black nylon.
The damp-proof membrane. Yeah, all right.
Possibly some people they think of the cost and they just think they can do away with it.
And it's not even expensive.
It's not funnily it's not expensive.
It's not expensive.
And
so it's not the roll of nylon actually. So
that black nylon. Even some people don't go for a very the normal thickness.
Yes,
of the nylon.
We have different thicknesses.
Different thickness.
But by and large, it's just good to put it
at least.
See another what do you call it again? One more point on foundation, maybe before we proceed, is you see the rising of water is not just on the block. There can be rising, through the floor itself. Not just the block through the wall. They can be rising through the floor. And I've been to buildings that the floors are just always wet. You see the change in color. One is looking wet, the other one that's the damp nature now. So dampness is not just in wall, it can also upon your tiles. So you see, and why? Because the foundation, no DPC. Of course, if there's no DPC, they didn't put DPM. You understand? Then they just have the foundation like that. So there will be leakages of a truth. Then
unless I forget, there's this common saying in China. They tell you do half DPC.
Okay.
Yeah, they just do that following the block.
The block part. No, that's wrong. If you do that, there will still be a way of water escaping from the ground. Yeah. There's no way you can do it. Yeah. Your floor tiles can be wet. It's better you just spread all across. One funny thing with water is that all of us water will always find its way. We all know that. Definitely. You can't block water. Yeah. It will always find it. So one of the ways to just do it is to prevent it from rising.
Completely.
So if you are doing a part and then you are doing half DPC, you are not doing the other one. The only one I can just say is that the traveling of water through the block, through this concrete block is always fast because of capillary action. But if it is just natural sand, if you pour water there, the water will remain at that level of the sand. It won't go up. But because of the mixture of that we have to produce block, the block material have this ability to absorb water. You understand? Water goes. So what some other people also do is to felt after your foundation block, before what do you call it, the DPC itself, we first apply a felt on all the blocks, and then you now go on. So the more of this preventive method that you have, the better for you to just safeguard your building. After that one, I think we need to move to another one. When water is now not coming from your foundation, because that's one way that water can get your building damp in the foundation. Another way that the base of your building can be wet on the outer part. is when you have flooding of water, you know,
from outside.
flood of water coming from outside and then settle at the base of your wall on the outside. Whether you like it or not, the wall will absorb it, and then there will be dampness. So what do? A good landscaping, you know, that we direct water away, you know, haven't taken care of the height of your foundation after all from road. So the next thing you need to do is landscaping is key to direct water from the base of your building, you know, away to the drainages, and then probably to outside the compound, and then they find their way. I think that's just it.
That really take care of it. Another thing we should consider is, have you noticed that walls that are not painted, they absorb water when you pour water on it?
Yes, that's true. That's true.
When a wall is painted, it doesn't absorb water just like the one that is unpainted. You understand?
Yes.
That's to tell you that
I think
painting as well.
There's this mixture in paint that is oily, you know. Especially if you use oil paint. Actually, there are even oil paints or this satin kind of paint. So that's just the point. I agree with you. Go ahead.
So it will, you know, that paint as well is a protective measure to afford
that's true.
Dampness as well.
Then to also stop that again, people compromise in the mixture of their plastering material, and that's wrong.
Exactly.
A good mixed plastering material will not always what do you call it now, allow water to be absorbed easily. But when you have a mixture that is, you know, the sand is not too cool, the absorbing of water will just be easy. So even before you apply paint, and mind you, before you apply paint, screed. Screed. You just screed your wall. You know, before you apply paint, screed. But before we leave the external part that is always damp now, I have people that their buildings have been painted for the past 15 years, and yet they are complaining of damp. You understand? It is good that you maintain that culture of repainting your building. You know, what you maintain will last long. You understand? So just maintain the culture of painting your building. In my school, I remember I was wondering why they were doing that anyway, but it's cool. You know, there's this culture of painting the external part of all the building in the school once every year.
Wow.
You understand? Wow. So there's that culture in my school. So I don't know if they still maintain it up to now, but
good maintenance
culture. You just paint the external, and it's you know, during the process of painting, you not just lay paint on affected part of the wall, you scrape off, you know, and then so by so doing, you are protecting your building. The cost of painting is far cheaper than when the building collapses, guys. So let's move to another part of the building. Now, this is the most sensitive part of this talk. I want you to pay attention, because, sir, I've come across buildings that people complain about dampness in that building.
Right.
And by the time I visited the buildings, you know, I discovered that the dampness is not occurring, you know, in all parts of the building.
Okay.
And that shows that this is a new dimension to dampness in building.
Something is wrong.
Something is wrong at that affected area. And most times, the most damped part of all buildings that people complain about, sir, is the toilet. Is the toilet.
The toilet wall.
The toilet walls.
Yeah.
You know, inside the toilet we have tiles. Outside the toilet, you understand, is the plastered portion. You see, the outside part of the toilet are the ones affected.
I agree.
Yes, because if you go around the building, you will just see that every part of the building is okay, but it's just not inside the toilet, but the outside of the toilet.
The inside the toilet is tight.
And that is what most of the houses that complain about dampness suffered from.
I agree with you.
And to start with, number one, the issue is that either the piping inside the walls of your toilet, side of the building are broken or leaking. So there are little leakages in the wall, which is resulting into what you are having on the outside part. And funny enough, it happens in the room. I've been to a house where they called me, for maintenance as such, On getting there, God, I'm not so happy, engineer. This house, I'm just suffering dampness everywhere. I say, okay, where is the everywhere that you are suffering dampness? So we started to check out, and then I discovered the only part that is affected are those walls behind the toilets. Then I told the owner of the house, because the owner of the house was actually complaining. I did DPC, they told me to buy DPM, I did DPM. He was just lamenting that he did all manner of things that he wants to do.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you have done what.
So, and now this is happening. And the problem is this: there's a leakage, or there's a seepage now of water. Water is being absorbed from that toilet wall into the room. How? When we visited the toilet, we discovered that when you lay tiles, there are spaces left between tiles.
Okay.
All right. So there are holes. There are holes.
Water is
normally when you lay tiles, you fill with white. There's something we call white cement. You just fill with white cement. But carrying careful observation, especially at the base of the building, where the wall tiles, is lapping with the floor tiles, there are spaces. And there are also, guys, if you are watching this video, quickly rush to your toilet, and then just check that, please, because that could be the reason why you're having dampness in your home, sir. Now, there are leakages, and what happened is this: by the time they use water in that bathing room, the water will find its way in between those spaces in the tiles and then go underneath. Now, water must find a way of escape.
Exactly.
It can't penetrate back through the tiles. So the best way to go is through the block, and then you begin to see the aftermath effect in your room or in your lobby or wherever you feel the walls of the toilet. Even externally, you check buildings that are suffering dampness, they suffer dampness majorly behind their toilets. So not necessarily all around the building, you understand? And so that is where the problem is actually coming from. So what you need to do, or what one needs to do if you want to correct this, is to just get a tiler, buy a quality white cement, and then the old white cement can be scraped off, and then be filled with a new one. And once you've done all this, you seal all the places that water can escape, behind the tiles, and then you have solved the problem. And that is what I want to advise for everyone watching this video. Check your toilet. Most buildings suffers this. I've seen a lot of buildings that were invited on site as engineers, and they complain there's dampness everywhere. You go and check, it's the toilet. So let's talk about the upper part of the building now. There are places where you experience dampness, close to the wall, close to the roof of the building or on the roof itself. From your experience, can you just shed more light, please?
What really caused that in most cases is if your building is a bungalow and you just have a roof directly on the building, you see that before that can happen, there will be leakage from
from the roofing sheets.
From the roofing sheets. So most especially, you take note of that. If you're having a POP, you see the POP is turning from white, which is the normal color, to something brown. You begin to see some mark on the POP. So what causes that majorly is leakage from the roof
itself.
It may go beyond the ceiling. It sometimes, depending on how heavy the
dampness is,
then it sometimes penetrates into the wall, and you see some part of the
wall
stained also.
Right. So also I've also observed that in a case whereby we have not a bungalow, maybe a duplex story buildings and all that, the slab up there, and that's why it is good if you are listening to me and you are carrying out the construction, pay attention to structural works. The slab, if it is not well done, either the piping work is faulty, and then there are leakages, up there. The guy upstairs may not even suffer. It's the guy underneath that will suffer, because that's his own roof now. The man up there's floor is his own roof, so he will be the one that will suffer it. And the crazy thing is this: if there's leakage at this point, where you'll be seeing the result might be there if the slab is not well done during casting. And that is why I always just advise that make sure you vibrate, do the proper mix, avoid honeycombs. Honeycombs is just that space that you have in between concrete after casting. It's wrong. They can be so frustrating when it comes to issue like this, because the effect of the water that is leaking here will be felt far off. So guys, I always just advise, get a good quality material for your piping work, especially those materials that you bury inside the concrete, to avoid all this. And the interesting thing is this: all leakages that is experienced at anywhere from first floor, second floor upward like that, they are just your pipe that carries the water
supply pipe
to the building that is faulty, because water can't travel from the natural ground up here. Sincerely speaking. All right, we would like to just stop at this stage. We'll continue some other times, but I believe there are people that are more knowledgeable listening to us, watching us back there. If you have your own idea of what you feel can be done to avoid dampness and causes of it, also drop it in the comments so that other people will read and then benefit for it. It's an interactive section for everyone to participate. Just a recap: if you're having leakages from your foundation, sorry, there's nothing you can do except you bring that building down. If you are putting ties from external part of your building internally, you're only just hiding the shame of your wall being down, but it doesn't stop the fact that water is still being absorbed from inside the foundation. But if what you are suffering from is splash of water to the wall of your building and it is causing dampness,
ties can
do that actually. Then what again, we also spoke about your toilet. Please just check your toilet. If there are holes in between your toilet wall ties and the floor ties, water will be escaping and you experience dampness on the other side.
And the space between the
wall ties and the floor ties, just take note, and then please just take care of that. Then we also spoke about your roof. This is rainy season approaching. Please just go back and then give it a kind of maintenance work. It's not bad when you do that annually. Actually, please just do it. It's always helpful to avoid the damages that will occur. And the last one, if you are experiencing dampness, in your slab, the only solution to that one, is just for you to run another pipe. Just forget the one that is inside the concrete. You just have to carry out a new piping wall. If possible, you can adopt having your pipe run on the surface, and then you have a duct, that you will have vents to cover, that you can always service your pipe from the external part of the building. That's the most crazy part of dampness in building. All right, I believe you enjoyed this video. Once again, if you are watching us for the very first time, please look at the subscribe button. It's red color. Please click it so that we can grow this channel, reach more audience. And please, if you are a returning subscriber, we really love and appreciate you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and from us to you back there, we say bye for now.